Velkommen til dag 3 med Forsker-standup her i kantina på Molde campus. I dag det førsteamanuensis Nesti fra Liverpool John Moores University. Han sportspsykolog som skal fortelle om arbeidet sitt. Han har jobbet blant annet mye med toppspillere i Premier League og ansatte i klubben på prestasjonspsykologi og det å bygge kultur. Han vil også senere i dag, klokka 2:15 til 3:15, holde et foredrag som åpent for alle på auditorium A112.
All right, then we are ready to start. This week we have a research week, and normally it's our own researchers who do the presentations, short presentations of some research projects. Today we have a guest, Dr. Nesti from Liverpool John Moores University, and he is linked up with our sport management team. And he's also supervising one of our PhD students at the moment. So we are very happy to have you here. You are working with Premier League players and employees of Premier League.
At the moment,
yes.
I'm doing that.
Yes.
I believe that's what I do when I'm at home.
All right. I'm happy you're not a proper Scouser, so we don't have to interpret the Liverpool accent.
I'm Scottish.
But you are going to talk about love and passion in Premier League. So I leave the floor to you. Please.
Okay. Thank you very much. Lovely to be here. A fantastic opportunity to do something very different in the next 10 minutes. I've got a really bad cough today. It might even be moving towards asthma. And I believe that injections are really important in this country. We don't do anything like that in Britain. We're above anything like that, as you can imagine. It's true, I'm going to try and talk about love and passion whilst you are actually eating and having your lunch. I hope this will stimulate some questions from the floor. You mustn't ask any questions about managers who have recently lost their jobs. That is out of the question. Having said that, the work I'm going to talk about now is partly based on research, but only partly based on research. I'll say in a minute some of the reasons for that. Evidence-based practice is absolutely vital. It's central to what you do in this university, it's central to what we all do in universities. My take on evidence-based practice means that it is not only research that is important. It is reflection on applied experience and practice informed by theory. So if you're a full-time researcher listening to me now, I think you need to get a life. And that means, if at all possible, you need to engage with the community at all different levels out of this university. I'm sure you do that in this institution here. Many universities do that, some don't. I think you can tell the difference. So no apologies, that what I'm really going to talk about is partly informed, maybe largely informed by working inside Premier League clubs as a university lecturer. That means I have the security of having a real job, that's a university post, for those who don't think that's a real job, and then being set free to do 3, 4, 5 days over a number of years working with staff and players in first team environments. So that allows me to do some, I hope, real things, some crazy things. I did write a book. You must buy this book. No, I did write a book. This is connected to the presentation. I wrote a book on some of the experiences that I had, and I won't bore you with the details, but the relevance to this presentation here is there is not a single reference to love and passion in this book. And yet I am a chartered psychologist. Surely psychology as a discipline and sport psychology has something to say about love and passion. Why? Because that's two of the biggest words used by people in the arts world, otherwise known as sport. So if they're talking about love and passion all of the time, how is it that psychologists have left that to those strange people known as philosophers? I don't think love and passion should be left to philosophers who we know usually just talk amongst themselves and don't go anywhere. There's nothing on this book in love and passion, but there's lots about motivation. Motivation is not love. Love is much, much, much more powerful. This is what love and passion, I think, looks like. Love is not soft and gentle. Love actually involves pain. Let me try and do some damage to Freud. I think Freud said, I'd love to do the German, but I can't. I think Freud said, if you do not want to be hurt, do not love. That's the last you'll hear of Freud in a sports psychology lecture. Look at the faces here. This is 5 minutes before drawing 1-1 with Chelsea. Look at the faces. There's only one reasonably happy-looking person. The person who has a job in the university. These guys love what they're doing and they're deeply passionate. And I know they get well paid. But they also love what they do. If not, they're going. We're selling. They're on their way. So loads of love and passion. I was wondering if psychology might have something to say about that. I think, to be more realistic, the best people I've worked with out of the players and staff, the best people truly mean love. They really mean it in its fullest, deepest sense. They don't just mean it as an emotion. They mean it as something to do with meaning. I'll come back to that in a minute. However, I think the rest mean obsession. I think the ones who are not quite so good, and there's nothing in my book on obsession, I wasn't allowed to put it in. You see, obsession is a very specific word. I'm sure it is in Norwegian, and it certainly is in English. I'm going to give my psychological explanation of obsession. Obsession means there is no me anymore. I am it. I am football. I am money and fame. There is no me. Does that matter? No, I suppose it doesn't. It's everything that I am. I can't think of anything else. However, it does matter, because in that world, football, elite sport, life, university life, you don't always get promotion. You don't always get the next pay increase. You don't always go to Arsenal if you're at a rubbish club. I won't say who that might be. You don't always get what you want. Therefore, obsession surely is really, really dangerous in terms of ethical behavior. What will I do if I'm obsessed rather than love? Might I look for a needle, possibly, to go in here? Possibly. Love. Oh, how beautiful that is. How wonderful. But more seriously, psychologically, love is about a relationship. If you love something, it means you have a relationship with your sport, with your football. We all know that. Look at the psychology I'm drawing on. I'm not just making this up. These are real heavy psychologists. You might notice, some of you, if you know these guys, these are European people, not Americans. That's a really important point for the narrowness of the psychology that we sometimes use, certainly in sports psychology. Love allows for differentiation. It allows you to separate yourself from the beloved. In this case, I'm talking about football. I know, it sounds stupid, but it's not, I hope. Here is a former World Player of the Year, certainly one of the most famous players I work with, this phrase in one of the sessions. He said, I can give absolutely everything to my football because it's not everything. I am deeply passionate and in love with my football, but it's not me. It's a relationship I have with something. I am broader than this. He had a huge and lengthy career. Lots of reasons. The fact that he managed to keep this going, I think, is part of the issue. So, okay, those of you in here who've been injecting yourselves, I'm sure there's plenty of people here would not like to say that's what you've been doing. I think it's cross-country skiing, isn't it, where the problem is? We don't have that problem in England. We're pure. You know what you've been doing, if you've been doing that, athletes and other people? You've been going for the current culture. You have been going for a technological quick fix. But you see, sport is countercultural. There is no reasons for sport. Nothing happens in sport. In art, there's a painting. In sport, in football, a ball goes in a net. It's bullshit. It's nothing. It's about experience, encounter, meaning. Demanding, challenging, yes. So, just to come to a conclusion, love and passion go together, I think, in sport. They're experienced by the very best. They try to hold on to these things at all costs. At all costs, because they're deeply personal. They know these things are going to involve the Latin base of passion, suffering and sacrifice and pain. And they're voluntarily doing those things to some degree. I think, in a way, sport is more like art. It's not a science. It's more like art. Even at the highest level, particularly those who still have some degree of commitment, love and passion for what they do. I think it's about suffering and sacrifice and joy. And suffering and sacrifice and pain and despair and joy. All of those things, if you are committed and serious about what you're doing. And I know for a tiny percentage of those who play sport, a tiny percentage, they also get huge material rewards. That's a challenge. There's where the temptation comes for the needles. That's the challenge. So, to finish, who should try to help those who are tempted? Us, the governing bodies, university academics, sports psychologists, coaches, all of us involved in sport, in terms of structures and support to people, should try to make sure that we're aware of the temptations, that we do everything we can to keep the love that most performers had for their sport, even top players, when they were children, to keep that alive. Because, to finish with it, the people. So I'm now thinking of crowds of football supporters in Britain. The people only love the ones who they think stay with the ideals. Only love the ones who they think are trying to be pure. The others they admire. I'd love to give you names, but I can't till the camera's off. The others they admire. They maybe respect, sort of. The ones they carry in their heart, and they will tell me about these players and staff, are the ones who they know have resisted selling their souls for extrinsic motives of career, money and fame, even if they've got lots of it, and still play like children. I leave you, Lionel Messi. Thank you very much.
Ja, det var Mark Nesti her fra Molde campus i dag. I morgen, torsdag, så er det Ingeborg Ulven fra sykepleierutdanninga som skal holde Forsker-standup. Og hun spør, hvorfor skal vi sende sykepleierstudenter til Afrika? Så tune inn igjen. Torsdag klokka 12 så kommer Forsker-standupen. Både her på Panorama og på RB-nett.